Another week, another game. This week I continued the zombie slaying and played State of Decay 2. You know, sequels are always a funny thing. They typically come about when the first work is very successful, whether that was planned or not. That doesn't mean, though, that the sequel will be successful like the first one was. It needs to be able to continue the story of the established characters or universe that was created in a way that makes sense and it flows nicely. You get some sequels, like Borderlands 2, which have new main characters and the story flows really nicely with the old characters as a supporting cast. You have some, like Super Mario 2, which are a completely different game that not many people like. Now I'm talking about the US version, not the Japanese version of that. Now you do get some games like State of Decay 2, which follow the if it isn't broke, don't fix it sort of model. It builds upon the mechanics and the universe from the first game and makes tweaks to help improve the overall gameplay. The concept is the same. You have a community that you have to manage, and you have to survive, find resources, all the same sort of stuff from the first one. You find other survivors, you need to help them with objectives, possibly recruit them. It's very similar again to that if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of idea. But it's really the differences to me that make this game different. You can see exactly how many resources your base can hold and how many you can go through each day, so it helps figure out outposts, helps strategize which resources you need to manage better. You have visual timers on how long you have to complete certain events, how long traders are going to be there, if there's certain events, if there's a horde going to attack your base, there's a countdown that goes and shows you how long you have to do it of in-game time, which is based on real time, so it makes more sense. And so you kind of have that urgency of, do you scavenge another building or do you go and help out with defense? But I think the biggest thing is the actual community itself. Now there's going to be a lot of info here, so just to kind of break it down in a somewhat general sense. Now, in this game, each community member has a different name, different traits, and different skills. That means that a member may have a certain affinity towards something, and once they get to a certain point, they will unlock that skill. That point being a hero in the community, which goes recruit, citizen, then hero. And those levels go up after completing certain tasks, killing special zombies, getting infestations, taking care of this new item, or I guess thing in the game called a plague heart. Each map has a bunch of those you need to go and take care of, so that's a new type of zombie. And once there's a hero, you can technically elect them to be what's considered the leader of the community. Now, there are 4 different types of leaders in the games. You have your builders, your traders, your sheriffs, and your warlords. Each gives you different skills, and there's much more to get into than that. But, I mean, that's just meaning that there's so many different strategies. You have to plan out who gets what skills, what traits you want to go, because there's skills like adding 2 beds or increasing morale, or those sorts of things, and the list is not endless. There is a definitive list, but the possibilities and combinations are almost endless, which makes it, to me, a great game and adds replayability to it, because you're not going to necessarily get the same characters over and over and over again. And that is all what, to me, made this game even better than the first. And again, I know there's things that I didn't even mention, I didn't even scratch the surface on it, but it's just something that I think is better to be found, better to play and find for yourself. So if you play the first game, you're definitely going to enjoy the second one. If you haven't played the first one, you can still play this one. That's not so impacted by the first one on story, so it's not like you're really missing out on anything. So it's not a bad idea either way to go and play it. I think it's great, and I think everyone should go and do it. But that's all for this week. Time for the hint for next week. I think it's time I get back to the battlefield. See you next week.